Hello everyone, today is Saturday, November the 18th, 2023. A friendly reminder for those who are still unfamiliar with the situation in Myanmar. I suggest you turn left when you go out and check out my series of videos in the Myanmar Situation playlist for a comprehensive and clear understanding of the situation in this country. Today, based on the latest news, I will delve into the details and analyze the achievements and future prospects of China's crackdown on Myanmar's tele-fraud crime syndicates. Please like, subscribe, comment, and forward to more friends. Thank you very much. The first phase of the offensive against the fraudsters in Myanmar has been successfully concluded, with the total annihilation of the Ming family, a tele-fraud warlord. Why was the Ming family targeted first? Among all the tele-fraud warlords in Myanmar, the Kokang warlords are the most arrogant and the least compliant with China, and within the Kokang warlords, the Ming family is the most defiant. On October the 20th, during the Kokang Wuhu Mountain Villa incident, armed members of the Ming family daringly murdered our identified public officials. How could a small tele-fraud warlord be so brazen, thinking they are untouchable due to national borders? On October the 27th, the Kokang Alliance Army, which had been fighting a guerrilla war in the mountains for over a decade, suddenly saw a significant increase in armed strength. Overnight, they found a lot of weapons, ammunition, and drones as if growing on trees, and then launched a major attack on the four major families of Kokang under the banner of exterminating the tele-fraud militia, progressing rapidly. The four major families soon could not hold on and sought help from the Myanmar military, but all reinforcements sent by the military government were defeated by the Kokang Alliance Army. The most outrageous was the fate of the elite 99th Division of the Myanmar military government. On November the 6th, the elite 99th Division of the Myanmar military government was sent to reinforce Kokang. This force was extremely large and among the best in the military government. However, the Kokang Alliance Army, with 150 drones obtained from unknown sources, precisely located the headquarters of the 99th Division and completely destroyed it. The commander of the 99th Division, Ang Julun, and several high-ranking officers were killed on the spot, paralyzing the entire division, which was then swiftly defeated. Since then, the Myanmar military government has dared not send reinforcements, being thoroughly intimidated. On November the 12th, Chinese police issued a warrant for the arrest of Ming Xuechang, Ming Guoping, Ming Julan, and Ming Zhenzhen for leaders of the tele-fraud syndicate, using very stern language. The criminal group led by Ming Xuechang has long organized and operated fraud dens, openly armed in protection of their scams, carrying out telecommunication network fraud against Chinese citizens, and defrauding huge amounts. Despite the strict crackdown by Chinese public security, they have not restrained themselves and continued to organize and commit crimes. They are also suspected of intentional murder, intentional injury, illegal detention, and other serious violent crimes, with extremely bad circumstances and serious consequences. From the wording of this warrant, it appears that the truth behind the October the 20th massacre at the Ming family's Wuhu Mountain Villa has been fully uncovered. Otherwise, with so many tele-fraud warlords, there would be no specific focus on the Ming family, nor would the language of the warrant be so severe. On the day the warrant was issued, the Kokang Alliance Army launched a fierce attack on the Ming family's stronghold in Shiwenzi, annihilating all the armed members of the Ming family at this location in less than half a day, causing the remaining members to flee. The head of the Ming family fled to the Myanmar military government with his entire family, hoping that years of tribute would earn them protection from their masters. However, harboring a person specifically targeted by China would be tantamount to opposing China for the Myanmar military government. Chinese history records Nanyue killed Han messengers and was divided into 9 provinces. The king of Wan killed Han messengers, and his head was hung at the northern gates. Korea killed Han messengers and was promptly annihilated. At this point, the Ming family's fate was sealed. No matter where they fled, death was certain. Whoever sheltered the Ming family would face the same fate. The Myanmar military government had to weigh the consequences of getting involved. On November the 15th, the Myanmar military government arrested all members of the Ming family. The family head, Ming Xuechang, committed suicide out of fear of punishment. On November the 16th, the Myanmar military government handed over the bodies of Ming Xuechang, Ming Guoping, Ming Julan, Ming Zhenzhen, and the corpse of Ming Xuechang to the Chinese government. These 4 were not the only members of the Ming family, but they were directly responsible for the Wuhu Mountain Villa massacre. China issued the warrants after confirming the evidence. The focus was not on annihilating the entire Ming family, but specifically those who had blood on their hands. Ming Xuechang, 69 years old, was a former member of the Shan State Parliament and the Kokang Autonomous Region Leadership Committee. Now deceased by suicide, his body was handed over to Chinese forensic experts for identification. Ming Guan, the eldest son of the Ming family, was the commander of the 21st Battalion of the Kokang Autonomous Region Police Force in Shan State and the founder of Wuhu Mountain Villa. Last year, he became comatose due to a horse-riding accident in Laojie and has been in the hospital ever since, thus escaping the downfall of the Ming family. Ming Julan, born in 1981, 42 years old, was an assistant manager of Wuhu Mountain Villa and one of the 4 members of the Ming family sought by China. She has been captured and handed over to the Chinese police. Ming Guoping, the second son, born in 1981, 42 years old, was the militia squadron leader in Shiwenzi Township, Kokang Autonomous Region, Shan State, and the de facto controller of Wuhu Mountain Villa. He was also one of the 4 members of the Ming family sought by China. Ming Zhenzhen, born in 1996, 27 years old, was another member of the Ming family sought by China. Both of them have now been captured and handed over to the Chinese police. Ming Zhenzhen may appear to be an ordinary young woman, but in reality, she's a demon with the most blood on her hands. She managed the day-to-day affairs of the Wuhu Mountain Villa and was the public face of the organization on significant occasions. She also oversaw the daily operations of the Ming family's armed personnel. It's highly likely that she ordered the killing of our personnel, not the family head, Ming Guochang, as she has always been involved in such minor matters like killing those who resisted their tele-fraud operations. Now, this demon, shackled in heavy fetters, is being escorted to China to stand trial, where the death penalty is her inevitable fate, as she is undoubtedly guilty of murder. With this, the Ming family, which once dominated Kokang, is completely annihilated. 14 years of their empire is reduced to ashes. The family had committed suicide, and the key members of the family are being tried in China. In addition to the Ming family, other principal members of the Tele-fraud families have been captured and have made public video appeals urging their families to surrender. The first to appear was Wei Qingtao, son of the head of the Kokang Wei family and brother of Wei Rong, president of the notorious Tele-fraud and online gambling group, Henry Group. He was followed by Liu Zhengqi, brother of Liu Abao, the head of the richest family in Kokang and president of another Tele-fraud and online gambling group, Fili Lai. The last to appear was Bi Huijun, son-in-law of Ming Xuechang. Their most repeated message was, the Chinese government is determined to eradicate tele-fraud and will not stop until it is accomplished. Don't hold any illusions. Seize the last chance, open the parks, and voluntarily return the Chinese people. Another frequently mentioned phrase was, blood debt, blood repayment. Apart from these captured core members of the tele-fraud families, Many other core members were killed on the battlefield. Bai Yingcang, the second son of the Bai family, controlled over 1,000 soldiers and was the owner of the Changsheng Tele-fraud park, employing thousands of Tele-fraud operators. Bai Yinglan, the ambitious third daughter of the Bai family, unwilling to be subordinate to her brother, founded the Xingbei Group, integrating casinos and fraud operations, and commanded her own armed forces of hundreds, often clashing with other families. Despite her beauty, she was ruthless. These two, along with their brother-in-law Cao Qiangli, have been killed by the Kokang Alliance army. This represents the intensity of China's crackdown on the Kokang Tele-fraud warlords. The destruction of the Bai family is just the beginning, not the end. Feeling the pressure of China's crackdown, the four major warlords of Kokang could no longer hold out. A few days ago, they released news that the weapons and ammunition used by the Kokang Alliance army were all in Chinese, hoping that General Min Aung of the Myanmar military government would uphold justice. General Min Aung stated that this was a despicable tactic by the four major families to sow discord between Myanmar and the Eastern powerhouse, and that the Chinese on the weapons and ammunition must be fake. With the elite 99th Division gone and the public revelation of Chinese on the weapons and ammunition, the four major families seem to be seeking their own demise while General Min Aung wishes to live. Some things are known, but openly stating them is provocative. Yesterday, there was news that Bai Suocheng wanted to flee Kokang but was intercepted by the Myanmar military government. Trying to flee before completing the task was wishful thinking. At this point, the four major families of Kokang have only one path left: to quickly clear out their Tele-fraud members. This won't lessen the current crackdown, but at least it will slow down the pace of weapon and ammunition proliferation in the deep mountains of Kokang, and spare the lives of younger family members less involved in crimes. On November the 12th, Bai Suocheng, the de facto ruler of Kokang and head of the Bai family, issued a document promising to return all fraud companies and their Chinese staff to China within 2 to 3 days. How to fulfill this promise? The Kokang authorities implemented a blanket policy: all Chinese, regardless of their involvement in Tele-fraud, were to be repatriated to prove that all Chinese Tele-fraud members had been returned. This was the only way to prove their sincerity to China in the shortest time possible, as the Bai family could no longer endure the pressure. How to repatriate all Chinese? First, the Kokang authorities sent buses around the city, offering free rides to Chinese nationals back to China, prioritizing those willing to return voluntarily. Then they conducted comprehensive searches, capturing all Chinese nationals unwilling to return and handing them over to Chinese police at the border, rewarding informants, as these individuals hiding from repatriation were undoubtedly problematic. In this way, thousands of Chinese Tele-fraud operators were swiftly handed over by the Kokang authorities and apprehended by Chinese police, brought into China from the border. Currently, the entire Tele-fraud network in Kokang has been thoroughly eradicated. Not only Chinese Tele-fraud operators but even Chinese nationals are hard to find there. However, as our officials have clearly stated, this is just the beginning. Kokang is only a part of Myanmar, and the campaign will not cease until all Tele-fraud operators in Myanmar are eradicated. This message is directed at the Myanmar military government. To kill the chicken to scare the monkey, the Ming family of Kokang was just the chicken that was killed. But the Myanmar military government is the monkey to be warned, as behind all the Tele-fraud warlords in Myanmar, the real bosses are the military government. These warlords, used to their arrogance, really thought they were marshals and commanders, believing their armed forces could defeat China's war wolves. But when the conflict actually erupted, they found out that China hadn't even deployed any war wolves. A single warrant from the Wenzhou City Public Security Bureau was enough to annihilate these so-called marshals and commanders, and all the so-called sons and daughters of privilege were captured and jailed. Ming Xuechang, the family head of the Ming family, committed suicide, hoping to take all the blame upon himself. Once living in luxury and killing without blinking, this local warlord now lies dead in a dilapidated vehicle, displayed to the public, his family and fortunes destroyed. Ming Xuechang's heavy sins cannot be erased by suicide. Even in death, his story is being spread online, showing the world the fate of those who dare to harm Chinese citizens, warning those still daring to act rashly to weigh the consequences. We will not cease until tele-fraud is eradicated, we declare, and we do not mind if a few more tele-fraud families in Myanmar meet the same fate of death and ruin. The wrath of a great nation is not something these petty tele-fraud warlords can withstand. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and forward to more friends. Thank you.